Hey, I'm Grant with Grant's Game Rex. I spent last week and weekend at Origins Game Fair in Columbus, Ohio, which is the third largest tabletop gaming convention in the United States. And boy, did I see a lot! Oh man, there was a lot of great games there. A lot of these games are either recently released or soon to be released games. Interestingly enough, probably more than any convention I've ever been to before, I actually saw a ton of previews of games that are coming to Kickstarter soon as well. So I'm actually going to do a separate video tomorrow. I'm going to put out another video on the best games coming to Kickstarter just to give you a heads up to what to expect on some crowdfunding sites. But these games for my best of awards are either recently come out or soon to come out type of games. So, most of these games I sat down and I demoed or I watched being played, but I didn't play through a bunch of games of any of them or anything like that. So almost think of this as like my first impression awards from Origins. So here we go! The most innovative game I saw there, honestly, this was probably my easiest award to pick of any of these awards. A lot of times it was hard to narrow it down to one from two or three amazing games, but this one, I knew which game was going to be my most innovative from the convention very easily, because it is Cat in the Box from Bezier Games. And this game is really interesting. It is a trick-taking game played with cards, but none of the cards have any colors, and you assign them colors when you play them. So you are playing a card and then using one of your tokens to put in place on this track, and you are deciding what color that card is. And then when you're placing those tokens on a track, it becomes sort of an area control game there. So it is mixing area control with trick taking. You're trying to build continuous areas of your one color token up here on the color track, and it's like no trick taking game I've ever seen before. Trick taking games feel very classic. I played a lot of trick taking games just with a deck of 52 cards when I was growing up, and people are finding really cool ways to make trick taking feel different and unique and fresh, and Cat in the Box definitely feels like a fresh take on trick taking. Cat in the Box is coming out in July, so check it out soon. For best two-player only game, I've got It's a Wonderful Kingdom from Lucky Duck Games. Now, I love It's a Wonderful World, which came out about 3 years ago. It's one of my favorite engine builder games of all time. It's like the evolution of Splendor to Century to It's a Wonderful World. Well, It's a Wonderful Kingdom makes it a two-player only game, and it's a really interesting drafting system. Essentially, the production phase, where you are moving cubes and using cubes to build cards, is largely the same as It's a Wonderful World, but the drafting in the two-player only It's a Wonderful Kingdom, you basically put two cards down on one side of the board or one on one, and then the other player gets to choose which pile they take. But then you can play cards face down, you can play cards face up. It's just full of intrigue, and it's a really interesting I cut, you choose kind of cutthroat drafting system. It's a Wonderful Kingdom comes out in August. For the best high player count game, I am picking Cult of the Deep from BA Games. Cult of the Deep plays up to 8 players, and you definitely want to have, I would say, at least 5 players to play it, because there are hidden roles. You are playing as cultists trying to build up your own cult and make your own cult team win. And it's a hidden role game with a lot more strategy than a lot of other hidden role games. I feel like a lot of hidden role games are kind of party games. Oh, it's fun, we're lying, we're accusing sort of stuff. And there definitely is that social aspect of Cult of the Deep, but there's way more like moving parts. There's dice, there's cards, there's special abilities, there are one-time abilities, there are ongoing abilities. There's a decent amount going on, but yet it still plays in about an hour, something like that. So if you want a hidden role game that has a bit more depth of strategy to it, and you love cults, then check out Cult of the Deep. This one comes out in June. Later in June it comes out. For best cooperative game, I'm picking Mission Control Critical Orbit from Third World Studios. This is an asymmetric, cooperative, timed roll and write. Yeah, it's got all those things. That's a lot of things in one game, but it seems like it does it very well. So you are rolling dice and then using the dice to, assign like a normal roll and write, but each player, it plays up to 4 players, and each player has their own board and they are doing different things, and your ultimate goal is to save a spaceship in 20 minutes. And so one player is kind of doing this one game, and then this player is doing something else, all in service of helping one player who is kind of playing as the spaceship. So these 3 players are all doing things to give benefits to this other player who is controlling and operating the spaceship. And it's just like really interesting. I don't know that I've played like an asymmetric roll and write before. So it's just 20 minutes to play, and if you fail, you can switch roles, you can play again, you can do that sort of stuff. So I love the idea of Mission Control Critical Orbit. This one comes out at Gen Con, but then it'll have a wider release in September. The best production at the convention was Burn Cycle from Chip Theory Games. And if you know anything about Chip Theory Games, their games always have a certain wow factor. You walk up to them and you're like, wow, this looks so good, wow. I'm sure they kind of get tired of hearing that in their booth. Everybody's just walking by, wow, wow, wow. It's probably a lot to hear at a convention. But they deserve that because they always look so amazing. The components are so cool, the art is so cool, everything about it just looks cool on the table. Their games are like showpiece type of games where you're like, look at me, my collection's impressive. Burn Cycle is a cooperative programming game where you are controlling robots in the distant future and you are trying to fight back against evil human corporations. So it kind of flips that on its head, where we're not playing as the humans, you're playing as the robots, because humans can be bad. Yep, it's true. And so they talk about this game being like, it really comes down to creative action sequencing. You need to plan your turns with other players and use your action points in creative ways to solve puzzly problems throughout the game. And boy, it looks great. Burn Cycle just came out, so you can get it now. The best campaign game I saw is Call to Adventure Epic Origins from Brotherwise Games. This is sort of a sequel to a game that came out from them about 4 years ago called Call to Adventure. And they were telling me that this one, I've actually never played the original, and so what differs in this one, you're still building a character, you're still doing tableau building, but this one adds in some more sort of tabletop RPG elements into the game. It incentivizes cooperation, but it also, you don't lose the idea of building your own character in a competitive way. There are different modes in the game, and the campaign mode is only one of the modes, but it feels like a pretty cool mode that you're going to want to play, because as you beat different adversaries, you unlock new cards and special abilities and things like that. So if you want to have that kind of, D&D style feel to it, that's how you're going to do it, is by playing the campaign mode of Call to Adventure Epic Origins. This one comes out in September. My favorite theme was Castles by the Sea by Brotherwise Games. In this game, you play as tiny shorelings who live on the sand next to the ocean, and you are building up your sandcastle kingdom, but things can come around and smash your castle and ruin your castle. And those things are stuff like a baby or a dog or something, like it's not a terror in the game, it's a terrier in the game. That's what's destroying your kingdom. So it's just like adorable thinking about being just like a little prince on the sand trying to build up your kingdom. I love that idea. It's definitely a very puzzly kind of abstract three-dimensional tile laying game. The gameplay is cool, and it comes across, like the theme does come across, because you're building up your three-dimensional castle and you're putting little guys out on it to protect it and stuff like that. It's just really cute and fun. Castles by the Sea will be coming out in early 2023. For best party game, I've got Green Team Wins from 25th Century Games, and I swear to God, I'm not just like a corporate shill, because I'm wearing their hat right now. All right, I played this game a bunch of times with a bunch of different people. If you are playing a late night game with a lot of people, Green Team Wins is one of the best options out there. Literally, I played it multiple nights in the convention because it's just so easy to play a bunch of people. It's silly, it's big, it's social. It plays up to 12 players, and a question will come out, and that question will be either fill in the blank or pick one of three options or things like that. And all you are trying to do is be in the majority. So if it's like Dr. Blank, some people are going to write Who, some people are going to write Strange, some people are going to write Octopus. You don't know what it's going to be, and then you're just hoping that you're group thinking with other people there, and it's always like a funny debate, right? Where you're like, what? That's what you guys wrote? Come on, how did you not get the obvious thing? I can't believe it. Different things are obvious to different people. And like I said, if you want to play, it's very easy to get into. It's very easy to teach. So it's like the game we were always playing at midnight or 1 a.m. when we had a bunch of people still hanging out. Green Team Wins comes out this summer. Best art is Robot Quest Arena from Wise Wizard Games. This is a 2 to 4 player game where you are playing as a robot in an arena, just trying to mess up other robots. It's like the old show BattleBots. You ever see BattleBots? This is BattleBots, the board game, and it is bright, it is fun. It's a deck building game where you are trying to strategically move around the arena and do damage to other robots. The miniatures are super, super cool, and I love the color scheme of it. It's all very bright and vibrant. There's a ton of different cards, and all those cards have fun art on it. It's a game that makes me happy to play because it just looks so bright and fun, and it plays fun on the table. So that's why I just love the art and the sort of whole graphic design of the game. It's light and whimsical and fun. Robot Quest Arena is coming out late fall. The best kids game was Magic Mountain from Amigo Games. In this game, you are picking up and moving witches down the board, and you are just trying to get marbles to get to the bottom of the board before a bad witch gets there. You don't want the bad witches to outrace the marbles. And it's got that sort of exciting marble racing element to it. You can play this game with kids as young as 5 years old. And even when the gameplay is exhausted, when they feel like they've played the game enough, there's still that fun toy factor of putting the marbles down the board and seeing them race to the bottom. So I think they'd get a lot of enjoyment out of this for a long time. Magic Mountain is already out, so you can go out and get this one right now. The game that caught me by surprise in a good way the most at the convention was Acropolis from Hachette. I think I've gotten a little bit burned out on tile laying games. There's a lot of them out there and a lot coming out all of the time, and so when I originally saw Acropolis, I was like, okay, great, another tile laying game, probably doing the same things. But then I sat down and played through a game of it, and I liked it. I really enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to, because it has that perfect balance of a lot of thinky decisions, but it plays in 25 minutes. The game is snappy. Turns are snappy. There's no analysis paralysis here. And it's not just every other run-of-the-mill tile laying game, there's a lot of interesting layers of strategy here. Because yes, you're putting tiles down, but different tiles, different colors will score you points in different ways. Blues will score you for the largest contiguous area. Yellows are going to score for being isolated. Reds are only going to score of being on the edge. So there's a lot of interesting choices there. And not only that, you can also build tiles on top of other tiles. And when you lay tiles on top of other tiles, you're going to get certain benefits, but you're also going to cover up other benefits that you already had there. So that makes it a tough choice. Do I want to cover that up to get this other benefit, but I don't really want to lose that other one? What do I need to do here? And so if you want like a snappy tile laying game that still has some really interesting decisions in it, I definitely recommend Acropolis. This comes out July 1st. That's it. Those are my best of awards from Origins Game Fair in Columbus, Ohio. I try to do one of these award videos every time I go to one of the major conventions. Conventions like Gen Con in Indianapolis, PAX Unplugged in Philadelphia, or GAMA in March. So after I do each one of those conventions, I try to talk about in a recap video the best things I saw there, so you know what's coming up, what's coming out, what's hot, what's cool, what's fun. Thank you guys for watching. Check out some of these games, and I'll see you soon.